Hi guys, this is Joy and I'm here in Ankle Deep and I'm jumping in headfirst into something that is really personal with me. I have been talking to some of my friends about this and they encouraged me to share this with you. And it's not a hot fringe topic that's out there in the world right now, but it is something that has really touched me deeply. And I think for that reason, the authentic uh, place that I'm coming from, hopefully that will speak to you today. You may not know it. I know many of you knew my dad, Tom, Pastor Tom, but you might not have known kind of like our relationship. We had a unique relationship because I'm a girl, and my dad, not that he really wanted a boy, but when he raised me, he really raised me like a boy. And no pun intended, I was a tomboy. I mean, I climbed trees. I played football with my neighbors. I rode mini bikes, loved go-karts, things like that. Football, tackle football. I was very much a tomboy. Anyway, and there were several things my dad taught me. Now I know this may sound a little sexist, but just bear with me because remember these were different times all those years ago, and what we now see as something really evil. In his mind, he was just trying to help prepare me for the world. One thing that my dad did was he said he never wanted me to be a woman driver. Okay, so please don't get upset with me, and don't get upset with him. But for him, this meant that he didn't want, he attributed frustration on the road to women. Let's just be honest with that, because that's what he called people who frustrated him. He would say, I bet that's a woman driving. We'd pass and it would be like an elderly man. I'd say, not a woman, Dad. Anyway, so we had a lot of laughs about that. But he didn't want me to be a woman driver. He wanted me to drive aggressively. He wanted me to drive fast. He wanted me to pass every car that was in front of me. He wanted me to keep gas in the car and keep the car kept up with oil and the tires and everything else. He taught me how to do that. And if you've ever ridden with me, you know that he taught me to drive that way. And I can drive in reverse just as good as I can drive going in forward. So he was a stickler for all of that, and I think I met his expectations with that. Another thing that he did, there were so many things, but this is the thing I want to focus on today, and that was that he required of me when I was speaking to him to to present things in a logical way, to present an argument. And if he and I were discussing something or disagreeing about something, his expectation of me was for me to not just accept what he said, but to come back with my side of it, so to speak, and present the case. And he wanted me to, he called it thinking all the way around an argument. And he would say, Lynn, you haven't thought all the way around that. You need to consider that again. And he called me Lynn. That's my middle name. And unless he was angry with me, then he'd call me Joy. Okay, maybe that's a little bit too much information, but it's all true. Okay, so there's that. But anyway, I remember being with some of the staff, and so he and I would be doing our thing, and staff at the church, and so I would do what he trained me to do, which was to not so much be combative, but just to assert, to put things in a logical progression, to think around the complete problem, and not to necessarily just take no for an answer. I mean, I really think he was training me for the real world. And I know some staff, whenever I was a little girl, they were like, why would you talk back to your dad that way? And I didn't even answer them. I just thought, because he requires it of me. If I didn't talk back to him, I would be in a lot of trouble later. And the talking back was, I didn't just take what he said at face value. I didn't just do that. He wanted me to pursue truth. He wanted me to pursue something to the end. He wanted me to logically present a point of view and he wanted it substantiated. And if I could present a better argument, or if I could present something that was equal to his, well, then that would be considered. If I couldn't, well, then it was dismissed. And so there's not a lot of warm, fuzzy feelings in that. It's just a matter of, can you hold your own joy? Can you enter into a verbal conversation? Can you enter into the world of thinking and hold your own? And as you know, he got me a thinking cap because thinking was a really big deal to him. And he would say, Lynn, you have to put on your thinking cap and you have to think all the way around the problem. Let's hear it. And then I'd have to present something that was cohesive and logical. And I would have to assert that. I would have to be bold and brave enough to do it, even though it was scary for me to do so. Now, why did I just tell you that? I did not, let me be very clear with this. I didn't tell you that for me to get any free passes or for any excuse. I'm just trying to give you a small glimpse into my childhood, because some of you might have seen me at church or whatever, but you weren't really getting a glimpse into my private world with my family, with my dad, and how we interacted with each other. And he just wanted me to be able to hold my own in life and to be able to express an intelligent thought that other people could understand and converse with. And another thing that contributed to that was whenever I was very young, like 5, I was expected to be with adults, sit on a couch, listen to their conversation, and be engaged in their conversation. If I was spoken to, I was supposed to speak back with something intelligent and conversive. And I grew up that way, listening to adults and being immersed in conversations, and always listening to something kind of above my head that was always expanding my knowledge so that I could be involved in a conversation. And maybe that's why I'm intrigued with the things that I am. Maybe I just come by it naturally, because I like having knowledge presented. I like having my thoughts provoked. I like expansion of things. It doesn't scare me. I want to consider it and weigh it out. That said, and I know that's kind of a long introduction, but that said, that gets me to the point of why I'm talking today. And I have only recently realized how that has enabled me throughout my life to look at things that I do as a person and find excuses or find justification for things that I might do or say. And I want to be super really clear here with this, because this is a semantic point. It's a subtle nuance of difference. And I hope that with God's help, I'll be able to express this to you clearly and succinctly, and that it will be as life-changing for you as it has been for me. All right, so here I go. And God, please help me and give me the right words to say in this right moment, and help it to be clear. And may your truth come forth, I pray. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. All right. So with all of that in mind, I recently had something in my life where I was in a disagreement with someone. And it was a heated exchange. It was it was not God honoring, okay, to put it the least. But anyway, after that exchange, my mom and I were going to church. We attend service on Saturday night, and I was heading to church, and I was thinking, oh wow, I've got church tonight. I've just had this heated exchange. I'm not feeling, and I'm going to be totally transparent here. I'm not feeling regret, remorse. I'm not feeling conviction. I'm not feeling anything. I'm just feeling kind of numb. And it scared me. it really, really scared me because I felt absolutely nothing. I mean, normally, even just the emotional thing of having an altercation with someone will keep me kind of buzzed up. Do you guys feel that way ever? Just kind of buzzed up afterward, and you're replaying in your head. It's all this stuff is going on, and your emotions are building. You're feeling the same energy in your body that you felt whenever it was happening. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Okay, so but I didn't feel anything. I felt like a numbness, like I felt nothing. And the last thing that I felt like I wanted to do was to say I'm sorry about that, or or take responsibility for it in any kind of way or anything. I didn't feel remorse about it. I want to stress here that I felt nothing. And I thought, well, maybe mom don't want to go to church tonight. Maybe we can just go tomorrow. So I go and I ask her, I go, Mom, you want to go to church? She says, oh, that would be good. That would be fine. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm on the hook about that. So I'm going to have to go in God's house now feeling this way, which was the first time in my life, honestly, that I ever felt this way, and that I felt nothing. Usually, I feel very upset. Usually, I'm reliving it. Usually, I'm thinking in my head, how did that happen? And this is why I did this, and when they did that, then this is why I did that, and but that wasn't happening with me at all. There was just a quietness and a nothingness. And then I had the horrible thought of, oh my goodness, what if they have communion tonight? Like we don't have communion that often, but what if they have communion tonight? And I thought, oh no, 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 nay, 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 I can't go. I'm not going to go. Examine myself and all of that because I'm not feeling any conviction here, God. I'm not feeling any conviction about what I've done or said or any kind of thing like that. I feel. I'm going to say it again. I feel nothing. I just feel nothing. And I prayed about it. I got dressed thinking about it. God, please don't let them, here you go, everything, like, please don't let them have communion tonight. Please don't let it be a communion night tonight, God, because, it's going to be hard enough to walk into your house. I don't want to examine myself because I'm feeling nothing. And if I'm feeling nothing, you need to convict me and give me some type of feelings. And I need to have some type of feelings, God. You got to help me over this. You got to help me over this hump. Well, I get my mother in the car. I get a rollator in the car. I drive to the church. We get there, on time, and we get inside. And what is happening right as we come inside? What are they doing? They're passing out the communion cups. The cups, the wafers. That they're passing that out. And I said, "Oh dear Lord, what do I need to do? Do I just need to drop mom off and leave? Like what can I do?" And I thought, God, I don't want to be away from you. I really don't. I want to honor you through communion. You say, "Do this in remembrance of me," and you're the most important thing to me in the whole world. And I want to remember you with my brothers and sisters in Christ. This is important, and yet I don't want to dishonor you, and I don't want to bring death and a curse to myself by taking your communion unworthily. I don't want to do that without self-reflection and examination, but I'm feeling nothing. I got nothing, God. I got nothing. I take the elements and I go and I get mom settled and I'm sitting next to her. I'm holding hers. I'm holding mine. I hand her hers. I've got mine and I'm thinking. So I just say to God, God, I've got nothing. Like my dad would have said, less than zero. And then he would have said, a zero with the stem knocked off. I don't know, it was one of his favorite sayings. It never really made sense to me, but I kind of sort of get it. Anyway, he would have said, Lynn, you're having a moment where you're having a zero with the stem knocked off. You're feeling less than nothing. And that was true. And here I am sitting in God's house holding communion and feeling nothing about what I've just done and said and the horribleness that I've just partaken in hours before. So I say to God, you have to help me. I'm doing this because I want to honor you, and you must help me. And I sat there and closed my eyes and prayed. And as I was praying, instead of what I've been trained to do my entire life, which is, and let me paint it for you this way. You know, if you do something and it's basically wrong, but if you go before a judge and the judge just reads the facts, like gets the piece of paper and just says, okay, so you did this, check. You did this, check. Okay. Well, you know, you did it. I find you guilty. That's there. There you go. Here's your sentence. All right. Or you can take it to a jury trial and you can go before the jury and you can say, oh, well, here's why I did it. You know, was not feeling well. I was under extreme duress. I was provoked. We can start listing all these things in our heads of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing. And before a jury trial, guys, I got to say, I think my chances were good for winning, all right, for being saying, oh, you know, not guilty, because we understand why you did that. It makes sense. You presented a logical argument, Joy. There was this, and then there was that, and there was this, and then there was that, and so there you go. And so yeah, okay. So no time to serve. Just we got it, okay. But that wasn't what I did in that moment. In the quietness of that moment, in prayer, and they had the auditorium dark. In the darkness, I sit there and said, God, I feel nothing, and I don't want to be like Saul, where your spirit has departed from me, and I don't even know that it's departed. Please don't let that be the case. Don't leave me. Forgive me, renew me, and help me be in right standing with you, and help me to do what's right, even though I don't have the words, and I just don't even have the feelings. I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie about, whatever. What can I do? What can I say? What kind of text can I send this person where I'm not lying? And what came to me was, Joy, take responsibility for what you did. Okay. I don't hear any fireworks right now. I don't see this, bright light coming down over my head, illuminating me. And you probably didn't either, all right? But I'm telling you, just take responsibility for what you said and what you did. Okay? Did you raise your voice? Yes, I did. Did you say things you shouldn't have said? Yes, I did. Okay? Go down the list. You either did it or you didn't do it. You alone did it. It can't be said that I had a gun to my head to make me do that. I can't say, oh, I was unwell and I did it. I can't say I was provoked and I did it. I can't say that I was traumatized and I did it. All of that had to be set aside, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I came to a crossroads in my life where it really didn't matter. That if I was going to be right with God and in right standing with Him, it couldn't matter. All that mattered was, are you guilty, Joy? Did you do this? Yes. Did you do this? Yes. Did you do this? Yes, I did. So that's the text I sent. I sent a text saying that I did those things. That's exactly what I said that I did. And I asked for forgiveness. And I told the person that I was asking for their forgiveness, and I was asking God to forgive me. Now, this may sound like something you've done thousands of times. It sounds like something that I've done thousands of times too. But there's something different here. And this is where I've asked God to help me to explain what the difference is. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is. All I know is that for once, all of my striving, all my justification, all of my reasoning, all my logic, everything I'd ever been trained to do, I needed God's forgiveness. And to have God's forgiveness, I had to be guilty of something. It couldn't be extenuating circumstances. It couldn't be they went first and I responded. It couldn't be any of that. It couldn't be a narrative like that. It just had to be, Joy, did you do this? Yes, I did. Joy, did you do this? Yes, I did. And I became the judge of me. I didn't ask for a jury trial. I judged me. I said, I'm guilty of all of it. And I listed things that I don't even know that I was even guilty of, but I wanted to make sure that I had everything included in there because this was serious to me. I wanted to be in right standing with God, and I didn't want him. I wanted to feel something. I wanted to feel his closeness. I did not. I was guilty. What was I guilty of? Everything I said and did, all my actions, not the other person. I can't be responsible for them. I, I alone was responsible for me. And when I did that, and when I just did it and placed it before God, feeling nothing, then something happened. I took communion. I sent a text. I took communion. And something happened in me. A freedom came like I've never experienced in my whole life. A freedom of I don't have to worry about what anyone says or thinks. I don't have to look good. I don't have to pretend that I don't need help. I don't have to pretend that I don't need forgiveness. If I just say, I'm guilty, it's me, I'm guilty, it's me, it's totally me, it's nobody else, I did it. It doesn't matter why I did it. I did it. Something has happened in my life since that moment. A freedom, a liberation that I cannot explain to you. I wish I could. I'm trying to kind of do that now, but I honestly don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. All I know to do is just to tell you these words, that I took responsibility for myself and what I did, feeling nothing. And then suddenly I felt freedom like I've never felt in my entire life. And then since that time, I've been trying to think like, God, what is this? Like, what is the thing? And here's what I've kind of thought. How pervasive is it that when we justify our actions or when we say, I was responding to what you did, or I remember George Bush, the older one, when he was president, and he said, when we responded, we gave an appropriate, measured response. I've never forgotten those words because I've thought in my life, yeah, Joy, you always want to give an appropriate, measured response to whatever's happened. But you know what? It doesn't mean, even if it's appropriate and measured, it doesn't mean it's right. This is where we have to understand the difference. It might be appropriate to cultural norms, and it might be measured to the same degree, but it doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's God honoring, and it also doesn't mean that the other person made me do it or that I was coerced or tricked or whatever into doing it. No, it just means that I did. And if I did, then I need God's forgiveness. And this is the thing. If we can't admit what we've said and done, irregardless of anything else, then how can we ever ask God to forgive us? Because I think that we're not keeping short accounts when we do that. I think that when we think that we're somehow justified or we're in the right and we don't really need God's forgiveness and we don't need the other person's forgiveness because, hey, you earned it. It was justified. By a jury trial, I was found innocent. I was found, hey, it was an appropriate, measured response. That is not the point, and that's never the point. The point is, did I do it? And was it right? Did it meet the biblical guidelines of being right? And if it didn't, then I've got to ask God to forgive me. And I can't play this, I'm justified, I don't go to jail, I go and I collect $200. We can't play that game with God. We just can't. And I don't know. Have I been playing that game my whole life? I don't know. I thought I was being sincere. I thought I was taking responsibility. I thought I was all this time. All I can tell you is that I've had a moment of breakthrough, an intense breakthrough in my life, where when I felt nothing, when I felt furthest away from God, somehow on the other side of that, I ended up in a place that enlarged my territory, that set me free, where the gates were destroyed and the bars were cut, because he is the breaker, right? He's the parazoum. He's the deliverer. He's the breaker, and it broke through an entire lifetime of measuring and of trying to reason in my own head, and of trying not to have this land on me, even though I did it. Okay, I would just say, if we can be brave and bold enough to stop running and actually say, it's me, I did it, I totally did it, I did all of it, and not add anything else to that, then I believe that upon what I've experienced, on the other side of that, we can experience a freedom like we've never, ever, ever known. Rest and peace. And suddenly, I didn't feel the hypervigilance that I've felt my whole life. Suddenly, on the other side of that, I just felt God's rest, God's peace. It was as if I felt nothing, but what I really felt was fullness. I really felt complete. I really felt whole. So today, if you don't know Jesus, it's a perfect time to know him. I mean, just say, look, hey, Jesus, I believe you came and you died for my sins and you rose again. And all this junk I'm carrying in me, I want to give it to you, and I want your forgiveness. I want your wholeness. I want your peace. I want your direction. I want you living in my life. And I give you my life. I give it all over to you. And I can't make it without you. And I want to be close to you. And it's not that I want to feel nothing and no regret and no remorse. It's that I want to feel nothing because I have the peace of God in my heart. I hope you have that peace today, and hopefully you'll join me next time as we jump in head first, ankle deep. God bless you.